The sound of paper tearing. That's what woke me up that morning. Not the alarm, not the birds, just paper, crisp, deliberate. I opened my eyes to my bedroom ceiling. The same ceiling I'd stared at for 37 years. The same crack running through the corner like a river on a map. My husband used to say he'd fix it. He never did, and now he never would. I sat up slowly. My joints protested. 67 years of life had left their mark, not dramatically, not tragically, just persistently. The sound came again from downstairs. Paper tearing. I pulled on my robe. The blue one. Robert bought it for me on our 30th anniversary. The fabric was thin now. Worn. But I couldn't let it go. I descended the stairs, gripping the railing tighter than I used to. My son David was in the dining room. He had spread papers across the table. Legal documents, financial statements, things with official letterheads. Mom. He looked up, startled. You're awake. It's my house, I said quietly. I'm allowed to be awake in it. He smiled. That practiced smile. The one he used with difficult clients. Of course. I just wanted to get some work done before we talked. Talked about what? He gestured to the papers like they explained everything. They didn't. About your future, he said. About keeping you safe. Safe. That word had started appearing more often lately. Always from David's mouth. Always followed by suggestions that didn't feel like suggestions at all. I moved to the kitchen. Made coffee. The old percolator bubbled and hissed. Robert had wanted to buy a new one. One of those fancy machines. I'd said no. I liked the sound. The ritual. The way it forced you to wait. David appeared in the doorway. Mom, we really need to talk about this. Clara and I have been discussing it, and Clara doesn't live here, I interrupted. She's my wife. She cares about you. I poured coffee into my favorite mug. The one with the chipped handle. Does she? It wasn't a question. David's jaw tightened. Just slightly. Just enough for me to notice. We're worried about you living alone. This house is too big. The maintenance costs are. I manage just fine. Do you? He stepped closer. Because last month you forgot to pay the water bill. My hand trembled. Just slightly. I had forgotten. Once. In 37 years of managing this household, I'd forgotten one bill. I paid it, I said. 2 weeks late. I paid it. David sighed. That long-suffering sigh. The one that said I'm being patient with you. Mom, I'm not trying to attack you. I'm trying to help. You're getting older. Things are getting harder. And this house, he looked around, and I saw it in his eyes. Not concern. Calculation. This house is worth a lot of money. Money that could take care of you. Really take care of you. The coffee had gone cold in my hands. This is my home, I whispered. And we want you to be comfortable. That's why Clara found this wonderful facility. Facility. Senior living community. Beautiful place. They have activities, nurses on staff, meals prepared. You want to put me in a home. I want to put you somewhere safe. There was that word again. Safe. I looked at my son. Really looked at him. When had he become this stranger? This man in an expensive suit, spreading papers across my dining table. Talking about facilities and financial management and selling my home? When had I become someone who needed to be managed? Get out, I said quietly. David blinked. What? Take your papers. Get out of my house. Mom, you're being unreasonable. Out. My voice cracked. Shattered. I hadn't yelled in years. Maybe decades. David stared at me. For just a moment, I saw something flicker across his face. Surprise. Maybe shame. Then it was gone. Fine. He gathered his papers with sharp, angry movements. But we're not done with this conversation. Someone needs to think about your future, even if you won't. The door slammed. I stood in my kitchen, shaking. The coffee was cold. The house was silent. And I realized with horrible clarity that this morning, this ordinary Monday morning, had changed something fundamental. My son didn't see me anymore. He saw a problem to be solved. An asset to be managed. An old woman who couldn't be trusted with her own life. I walked to the living room. Sat in Robert's chair. The leather was cracked now. But it still smelled like him. Old Spice and pipe tobacco. Robert, I whispered to the empty room. What do I do? But Robert was gone. And I was alone. More alone than I'd realized. 3 days passed. I didn't call David. He didn't call me. The silence stretched between us like an ocean. Wide. Cold. Growing wider by the hour. I spent those days in my garden. The roses needed deadheading. The soil needed turning. Physical work. Simple work. Work that didn't require me to think about my son's eyes. Cold. Assessing. Looking at me like I was already gone. Thursday afternoon, the doorbell rang. I knew who it would be. David stood on my porch. Clara beside him. She was impeccably dressed. Cream-colored sweater. Pearl earrings. Her smile was perfect. Practiced. Margaret, she said warmly. Too warmly. It's so good to see you. We both knew it was a lie. David said you might want some company. Clara continued, already moving past me into the house. So I thought I'd come along. Make this easier. Make what easier? I didn't ask. David followed her in. He was carrying a leather folder. Professional. Official. Mom, I think we got off on the wrong foot the other day, he began. His voice was softer now. Controlled. I didn't mean to upset you. You wanted to sell my house. I wanted to discuss options. He set the folder on the coffee table. That's all. Just options. Nothing has to be decided today. Clara sat on the sofa. Crossed her legs elegantly. Margaret, honey, we're just worried. This house is so much for one person. The upkeep, the utilities, the yard work. I manage, I said. Of course you do. Her smile never wavered. But wouldn't it be nice? To not have to? To have someone else handle all those tedious details? David opened the folder. More papers. Always more papers. I've been looking at your finances, he said. My stomach dropped. Looking at my dad left you well provided for. But the way you're managing things. He shook his head. Mom, you're losing money. The investments need restructuring. The property taxes are eating into your savings. And medical expenses. I'm healthy. Now. But what about next year? 5 years from now? He pulled out a document. This is a power of attorney. It would let me manage your accounts. Make sure everything is handled properly. Professionally. I stared at the paper. The words blurred together. You want control of my money, I said slowly. I want to protect your money. There's a difference. Was there? Clara leaned forward. Her perfume was expensive. Cloying. Margaret, David showed me your bank statements. You're spending $2,000 a month just on this house. That's not sustainable. Not long-term. It's my money, I said. Of course it is. Clara's voice was soothing, condescending. No one's saying otherwise. We just think. Wouldn't it be better to use that money on yourself? On your care? On your quality of life? David slid another paper across the table. This is information about Meadowbrook Senior Living. It's only 20 minutes from our house. Beautiful facility. They have gardening clubs, book groups, weekly activities. I have gardening here, I said. I have books here, but you'd have people. Clara's hand touched mine. Soft. Cold. You must get lonely, Margaret. All alone in this big house. Wouldn't it be nice to have friends? To have someone check on you every day? To make sure I'm not dead, she meant. To make sure the asset is still viable. The monthly cost is $3,500, David continued. Which sounds like a lot, but when you factor in selling this house, current market value is around $800,000. $800,000. That's what my home was worth to them. Not the memories. Not the 37 years. Not the garden Robert and I planted together, or the bedroom where my children were conceived, or the kitchen where I'd made thousands of meals. $800,000. You've already had it appraised, I said quietly. David had the grace to look uncomfortable. I just wanted to know the numbers. To give you accurate information. How considerate. Clara jumped in quickly. Margaret, we're not trying to pressure you. We're just presenting options, information, so you can make an informed decision. An informed decision, I repeated. Exactly. She squeezed my hand. We love you. We want what's best for you. And sometimes what's best is letting go. Moving forward. Starting a new chapter. A new chapter. In a facility. Where nurses would check on me. Where meals would be provided. Where I'd have activities scheduled like a child at summer camp. Where I would be safe. Managed. Controlled. I pulled my hand away from Clarice. I need to think, I said. Of course, David said quickly. Take all the time you need. But Mom, he tapped the power of attorney. This really would make things easier. For both of us. I could handle the finances, deal with the paperwork. Make sure everything's in order. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. Wouldn't have to worry. Wouldn't have to think. Wouldn't have to exist as anything more than a problem to be solved. I'll think about it, I said again. They left 20 minutes later. The papers stayed on my coffee table. I sat in Robert's chair and stared at them. Power of attorney, property appraisal, Meadowbrook senior living brochures, my life reduced to documents. My home reduced to a number. My future reduced to a decision I apparently couldn't be trusted to make alone. The photograph of Robert sat on the mantel. 37 years ago, he'd stood in this empty house, our first house, and said, "What do you think?" And I'd said, "I think it's perfect." And he'd smiled and said, "Then it's ours." Not his, not mine, ours. I picked up the power of attorney. Read it carefully. Every word, every clause, every way it would strip me of control. And then I did something I hadn't done since Robert died. I called my daughter. Emily answered on the second ring. "Mom?" Her voice was surprised, pleased. "Is everything okay?" When had it become unusual for me to call my own daughter? "I'm fine," I said automatically. Then stopped. "Actually, no, I'm not fine." "What happened?" I told her. All of it. David's visit, the papers, the facility, Clara's cold hands and practiced sympathy, the appraisal, the power of attorney. Emily was quiet for a long time. "Mom," she finally said, "please tell me you didn't sign anything." "I didn't." "Good. God. Good." I heard movement on her end. A door closing. "I need to tell you something about David." My heart sank. 2 months ago, he called me. Asked if I could contribute to your care. Said it wasn't fair that he was handling everything alone. But he's not handling anything. I know. I told him that. I said you were perfectly capable. He got angry. Said I was being naive. That you were declining and someone needed to step up. Declining. Like I was a stock value. A depreciating asset. He asked me for money? I said slowly. He suggested we split the cost of Meadowbrook. Said it was only fair, since we'd both inherit eventually anyway. Inherit. There it was. The real reason. Not concern. Not love. Money. My house. My savings. Robert's life insurance. Our retirement accounts. To David, I wasn't his mother anymore. I was an inheritance. Waiting to be claimed. Emily. My voice cracked. Am I being paranoid? Am I seeing things that aren't there? No. Her voice was firm. Hard. Mom, you're seeing exactly what's there. David's been like this for years. Ever since he married Clara. Everything is about money. About status. About looking successful. He's my son. I know. And I love him. But that doesn't mean I trust him with your life. I sat down. Hard. The room spun slightly. I don't know what to do, I whispered. Don't sign anything. Don't give him power of attorney. Don't let him sell your house. But what if he's right? What if I can't manage? What if I am declining? Are you? I thought about it. Really thought. I'd forgotten one bill. Once. I sometimes misplaced my reading glasses. I moved slower than I used to. Tired easier. But I still balanced my checkbook. Paid my bills. Managed my household. Made my own decisions. I was aging, not declining. There was a difference. No, I said finally. No, I'm not. Then don't let him convince you that you are. We talked for another hour. She told me about her life. Her daughter, my granddaughter who was 7 now. The house they'd just bought. Her husband's new job. Normal things. Family things. Things David never talked about anymore. When I hung up, the sun was setting. The house felt different somehow. Less empty. Less suffocating. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. Pulled out the old photo albums from the closet. Sat on the bed and opened the first one. Robert smiled up at me. Young. Handsome. His arm around my waist. Our wedding day. I turned the pages slowly. Our first house. The children as babies. Christmases. Birthdays. Ordinary moments that had become extraordinary through the alchemy of time. David as a little boy, gap-toothed and grinning. Holding up a finger painting. When had that boy become the man in the expensive suit? When had I become someone he saw as a burden? I found a picture of Robert and me on our 30th anniversary. The night he'd bought me the blue robe. We were older in the photo. Gray, lined, but happy. Robert had written on the back in his careful script. Margaret, you are the strongest person I know. Never forget that. I traced the words with my finger. Strong. Had I been strong? Or had I just been existing? Managing. Maintaining. Waiting. For what? I closed the album. Sat in the gathering darkness. and thought about choices, real choices, not the manufactured options David had spread across my coffee table, but actual decisions about my actual life. What did I want? Not what was safe, not what was convenient, not what made financial sense. What did I want? The answer surprised me. I wanted to live, not just exist, not just maintain, not just wait for death in some facility, with scheduled activities and monitored medication. I wanted to live, whatever that meant, however that looked. I picked up my phone, called Emily back. Mom? She sounded worried. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, I said. Can we have lunch? Tomorrow? Of course. I'd love that. Your house, I said. I want to see where you live. There was a smile in her voice. Really? Really? After I hung up, I went downstairs. The papers were still on the coffee table. Power of attorney, property appraisal, Meadowbrook brochures. I picked them up, carried them to the kitchen, and dropped them in the trash. All of them. It felt like rebellion. It felt like freedom. It felt terrifying, but it felt right. Emily's house was smaller than mine. Modest. A 2-story townhouse in a development full of young families. Children's bikes in driveways, basketball hoops over garages, the sound of laughter and life. She hugged me at the door. Tight. Real. I'm so glad you came, she said. Her husband, Tom, was in the kitchen making sandwiches. He waved a knife cheerfully. Margaret, great to see you. Hope you like turkey. Turkey's fine. Their daughter Sophie was 7 and shy. She peeked at me from behind Emily's legs. Hi, Grandma. My heart squeezed. When was the last time I'd seen her? 6 months? 8? Hi, sweetheart. We ate lunch on their small patio. Nothing fancy. Sandwiches and chips and lemonade. But it felt warm, easy, real. Tom asked about my garden. Sophie showed me her drawings. Emily just smiled and watched. It was so different from lunch with David and Clara. No agenda, no papers, no careful conversations designed to manipulate. Just family. After lunch, Emily and I walked while Tom took Sophie to the park. There's something I want to show you, Emily said. We walked 3 blocks to a newer building. 6 stories. Modern. Clean. What is this? I asked. Tom's company just finished it. Senior-friendly apartments. Elevator. Wheelchair accessible. Security. But independent living. You'd have your own place. Your own kitchen. Your own life. She looked at me carefully. The unit upstairs from us just became available. My breath caught. Emily, I'm not asking you to move. I'm not asking you to sell your house. She took my hand. I'm just showing you that you have options. Real options, not the ones David's pushing, but actual choices that you get to make. We rode the elevator up. 6th floor. The apartment was small but bright. Hardwood floors, big windows, a balcony, 1 bedroom, full kitchen, washer and dryer. The monthly fee covers utilities and building maintenance. I walked through it slowly. It wasn't my house, wasn't my garden, wasn't 37 years of memories, but it was something else. It was possibility. The building has a community garden on the roof, Emily continued. And there's a library room, a gym, but you're not on a schedule. No one checks on you. No activities required. You just live. I stood on the balcony, looked down at the street below. Children playing, dogs being walked, life happening. I can't leave my house, I said quietly. I know. Robert and I built that life. Those memories are there. I know. But it's also, I stopped, swallowed. It's also so empty now. So quiet. And I'm tired of being alone. Emily came to stand beside me. Mom, I'm not David. I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just saying, if you ever want to sell, if you ever want to downsize, if you ever want to be closer to us. She gestured to the apartment. This exists. This option exists. David would be furious. David doesn't get a vote. I laughed. Actually laughed. When was the last time I'd done that? Can I think about it? I asked. Of course. Take all the time you need. The unit won't be gone tomorrow. We rode the elevator back down. Walked back to her house in comfortable silence. At my car, Emily hugged me again. Mom, whatever you decide, I support you. If you want to stay in your house forever, I'll help you stay there. If you want to move, I'll help you move. If you want to travel the world and become a circus performer, I'll buy you a trapeze. I laughed again. I'm 67. So? Circus needs diversity. I held her face in my hands. When had my daughter become so wise? Thank you, I whispered. For what? For seeing me, still seeing me, not as a problem or a burden or an asset. Just me. Her eyes filled with tears. You're my mom. Of course I see you. Driving home, I thought about the apartment. The balcony. The community garden. The proximity to Emily and Sophie and Tom. The possibility of a different life. Not David's plan. Not confinement disguised as care. But actual freedom. Actual choice. Actual life. My phone rang as I pulled into my driveway. David. I almost didn't answer. But I did. Mom. We need to talk about those papers. I stopped by yesterday and they're gone. I threw them away. Silence. Then, you what? I threw them away. I'm not signing a power of attorney. I'm not selling my house. Not to move into Meadowbrook. Mom, you're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking perfectly clearly. You're making a mistake. A serious mistake. And when something happens when you fall, or get sick, or can't manage anymore, you're going to regret this. Maybe, but it'll be my mistake to make. I'm trying to help you. No. My voice was steady, calm. You're trying to control me. There's a difference. I hung up before he could respond. Sat in my car in my driveway. My hands weren't shaking. My heart wasn't racing. I felt clear. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt absolutely clear. The house felt different after that phone call. Not empty, not oppressive, just quiet. I walked through each room slowly that evening. Really looked at it. The dining room where we'd hosted Thanksgivings. The living room where Robert had read the paper every morning. The kitchen where I'd baked birthday cakes and Sunday roasts. 37 years of life, soaked into the walls. I climbed the stairs, ran my hand along the railing Robert had installed himself. Not perfectly straight, but solid. Reliable. The bedroom. Our bedroom. His side of the closet was still full of clothes. I'd told myself I'd sort through them. Eventually. When I was ready. Maybe I'd never be ready. Maybe that was okay. I opened his drawer. Touched his old watches. His cufflinks. The wooden box where he kept ticket stubs from every movie we ever saw together. 43 years of marriage reduced to objects. But they weren't really objects, were they? They were memories. Made physical. Made keepable. I picked up his favorite sweater. Navy blue. Wool. I'd given it to him for Christmas 15 years ago. Brought it to my face. Breathed in. It didn't smell like him anymore. Just like dust and cedar. But I could remember. I could remember everything. His laugh. His hands. The way he'd kiss my forehead every morning. The way he'd say my name. Margaret. Not Mom. Not honey. Just Margaret. Like I was a person. Separate. Whole. Complete. When had I stopped being Margaret? When had I become just David's mother? The widow? The old woman who couldn't manage her own life? I sat on the bed. Looked around this room. This house. This life. And I realized something. I was afraid. Not of selling. Not of moving. Not of change. I was afraid of erasing Robert. Of letting go of him. Of our life together. Of the proof that we existed. That we mattered. That we loved each other for 43 years. If I sold this house, what happened to those memories? If I packed up his clothes, gave away his books, dismantled our life, did he disappear? Did we disappear? My phone buzzed. A text from Emily. Just wanted to say I love you. No pressure. Just love. Simple. Honest. I typed back, love you too. Then I put the phone down. And I did something I hadn't allowed myself to do since Robert died. I cried. Really cried. Not the polite tears at the funeral. Not the quiet sniffles in the night. I sobbed. For Robert. For our life. For time and aging and the relentless march of years. For the fact that nothing lasts forever, no matter how much you love it. For the fact that holding on sometimes hurts more than letting go. I cried until I was empty. And then I lay on our bed, my bed, and I whispered to the ceiling. Robert, I don't know what to do. No answer came. Of course not. But in the silence, I heard his voice anyway. Memory or imagination, it didn't matter. You're the strongest person I know. Was I? Had I ever been? Or had I just been coasting? Managing? Existing in the comfortable routines we'd built together? Robert had been my partner. My best friend. My love. But he'd also been my safety net. And now he was gone. And I had to decide who Margaret Lawson was without him. I got up. washed my face, looked at myself in the mirror. 67 years old, gray hair, lined face, tired eyes, but alive, still here, still capable of making choices. I went downstairs, made tea, sat at the kitchen table, pulled out a notebook and pen, and I made a list. Not of what I should do, not of what was practical or sensible or financially sound. A list of what I wanted. I want to see my granddaughter more than twice a year. I want to stop eating dinner alone every night. I want to garden but not spend every weekend mowing a lawn I can barely manage. I want to be close to Emily. I want to wake up and feel excited about the day. I want to stop being afraid. I want to live before I die. I stared at the list for a long time. Then I picked up my phone and called Emily. Mom? That apartment, I said. Is it still available? Yes. They're not showing it for another week. Can I see it again? Of course. When? Tomorrow. Silence. Then, really? Really? Mom, are you sure? This is a big decision. I know. That's why I need to be the one making it. We arranged to meet the next morning. I sat with my tea and my list and my memories. The house creaked around me. Old wood settling. Old life sighing. I'm not erasing us, I said aloud to Robert's ghost. I'm just moving forward, carrying you with me, but moving forward. No answer came, but the house felt lighter somehow. Like it understood, like it was giving me permission. I walked to the back door, looked out at the garden. The roses were blooming, pink and red and white. Beautiful and alive. Robert had planted them, our first spring in this house. We'll grow old together, he'd said. Us and the roses. And we had. But the roses would bloom without me. Without us. Life continued. Always continued. The question was whether I'd be part of it. Or whether I'd just become another memory. Another thing left behind. Another photograph in someone else's album. I decided then, standing in my kitchen, looking at my garden, holding my tea. I decided to live. The apartment wasn't available for 3 weeks. Those were the longest and strangest 3 weeks of my life. I told David what I was planning. He didn't take it well. You're moving to be near Emily? His voice was cold, angry. After everything Clara and I have done to help you? You wanted to put me in a facility. We wanted to keep you safe. I'll be perfectly safe. You're making a mistake, a huge mistake, and you're going to regret it. Maybe, but it's my choice. He hung up, didn't call back. Clara sent a text. I hope you know what you're doing. I did. For the first time in years, I did. I hired a real estate agent. A kind woman named Patricia who didn't push or pressure. Just listened. This is a beautiful home, she said. You've taken wonderful care of it. 37 years, I said. It shows. She walked through each room carefully. Respectfully. The market is good right now. We could list it high. I don't need to list it high. I just need to sell it. That's refreshing. She smiled. Most people want every penny. It's just a house, I said. But it wasn't. We both knew it wasn't. It was a life, a history, a chapter closing. We listed it on a Tuesday. By Friday, I had 3 offers. I accepted one on Monday. A young couple, pregnant with their first child, looking for a place to build their life. I met them at the showing. Watched them walk through my house with bright eyes and big dreams. The garden, the wife whispered. Look at the roses. My husband planted those, I said. 37 years ago. They're beautiful. They need deadheading in August. And fertilizer in spring. And mulch in fall. She nodded seriously. I'll take good care of them. I believed her. Packing was harder than I expected. Every box was a decision. Every object a memory. Keep or donate. Save or release. Emily helped. She'd come over every evening after work. Bring takeout. Sort through decades of accumulated life. Mom, you don't need 17 mixing bowls. What if I'm making something that needs 17 steps? Then you make it in shifts. I laughed. We kept 3 bowls. Donated 14. Books were the hardest. I'd been a librarian for 30 years. Books were my life. You can't take all of them, Emily said gently. But the apartment is smaller. You have to choose. So I chose 1 box of absolute favorites. The rest went to the local library. They'll find good homes, the librarian assured me. She'd worked with me years ago. Remembered me. Books always do. Robert's clothes were the hardest of all. Emily sat with me. Didn't rush. Didn't push. We went through each item carefully. This sweater, I said. I gave him this. Do you want to keep it? No. Someone should wear it. He'd want someone to wear it. Everything went to charity, except one flannel shirt, his favorite. I kept that, folded it carefully, put it in my keeping box. The wooden box of movie tickets came with me. The photo albums, the blue robe, a few pieces of jewelry, his wedding ring, everything else. I let it go, and it hurt. God, it hurt. But it also felt right. Necessary, like shedding skin to grow. Closing came on a Wednesday morning. I signed papers, accepted a check, handed over the keys. The young couple shook my hand. Thank you, the husband said. We'll take care of it. I know you will. I walked out of the lawyer's office. Emily beside me. How do you feel? She asked. Terrified. She laughed. Good terrified or bad terrified? I don't know yet. We drove to the apartment building. The movers were already there, unloading my life from a truck. It looked so small, so insignificant. 37 years, reduced to furniture and boxes. But when we rode the elevator up, when I unlocked the door to apartment 6C, when I walked inside and saw the sunlight streaming through the windows, I felt it. Not loss, not grief, possibility. This was mine, my choice, my space, my life. I stood on the balcony, looked down at the street. The same street Emily walked every day. The same park where Sophie played. The same world, but closer now. More accessible. Mom? Emily called from inside. Where do you want the bookshelf? I went back in, started directing furniture, making decisions, creating a new space, a new life. The first week was strange. Everything felt wrong. The sounds were wrong. The light was wrong. The space was wrong. I missed my garden, my kitchen, my memories soaked into familiar walls. I cried most nights, but I also woke up every morning to Sophie knocking on my door. Grandma, can we have breakfast? And I'd make pancakes, or eggs, or whatever she wanted, and Tom would stop by for coffee before work. And Emily would call at lunch. And I wasn't alone, not anymore. The building had a community center on the second floor. Yoga classes, book club, art lessons. I ignored them at first. I wasn't a joiner. Never had been. But one Thursday, I was in the lobby and a woman approached me. You're Margaret, right? Emily's mom? Yes. I'm Joan. I live on 4. We're starting a gardening club on the roof. Would you be interested? I almost said no, automatically. Then I remembered my list. I want to wake up and feel excited about the day. Yes, I said. I'd like that. The roof garden was small but well maintained. 6 raised beds. Good soil. Plenty of sun. We're thinking tomatoes this season, Joan said. Maybe some herbs. Roses, I said. Could we do roses? Joan smiled. We could do roses. So I planted roses. Not my old roses. Not Robert's roses. New roses. For a new life. I joined yoga on Tuesdays. Felt ridiculous at first. 67-year-old woman in a room full of flexible 30-year-olds. But the instructor was kind. Patient. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Just breathe. Be present. So I breathed. And I was present. And slowly, so slowly, I almost didn't notice I started to feel good. Not happy yet. Not settled. But good. Like maybe I'd made the right choice. Like maybe letting go was actually picking up something new. Book club met every other Wednesday. I'd avoided it for 3 weeks. Then Emily pushed me. Mom, go. You love books. You love talking about books. Just go. So I went. 8 women. All ages. All backgrounds. All with opinions about the monthly selection. We argued about character motivation for 90 minutes. It was glorious. Same time next month? Joan asked. Absolutely. Walking back to my apartment that night, I passed Emily's door. Heard laughter inside. Sophie giggling. Tom's deep chuckle. Emily's light voice. My family. Right there. 3 floors down. Not ghosts. Not memories. Not phone calls and rare visits. Real. Present. Accessible. I climbed to my floor. Unlocked my door. Stepped inside. The apartment was small. Simple. Nothing like my house. But it was mine. And I was happy. Actually, genuinely happy. For the first time since Robert died. Maybe for the first time in years. I poured a glass of wine. Stood on the balcony. Watched the city lights. We did it, I whispered. To Robert. To myself. To the universe. We let go. And we survived. More than survived. We lived. 6 months passed. I settled into my new life. New routines, new rhythms, yoga Tuesdays, book club Wednesdays, gardening Thursdays, dinner with Emily every Sunday. Sophie started calling me unprompted. Just to chat, she'd say. 8 years old and she'd call just to tell me about her day. When David called my old number, I'd let my voicemail explain, this number is no longer in service. It felt good, necessary, clean. I gave him my new number. He never called. Until November. Thanksgiving was approaching. Emily invited me weeks in advance. Just us. Casual. Sophie wants to help cook. I'd love that. The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it. David stood there. He looked terrible. Thin. Unshaven. His expensive suit rumpled. Dark circles under his eyes. David? Can I come in? I hesitated, then stepped aside. He walked past me, looked around the apartment. His expression was, something. Surprise? Disappointment? This is where you've been living? Yes. It's small. It's enough. He sat on my sofa without being invited. Dropped his head into his hands. David, what's wrong? Everything. His voice cracked. Everything's wrong. I sat across from him. Waited. He looked up. His eyes were red. Clara left me. I felt my stomach drop. Not satisfaction. Just sadness. I'm sorry. Are you? You never liked her. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. He laughed bitterly. Turns out you were right. She was only interested in the money. The lifestyle. The image. What happened? I lost a major client. Then another. The firm let me go. I couldn't keep up the payments on the house, the cars, the everything. He stared at his hands. She left 2 weeks after I told her. Took half of everything, which was already half of nothing. I should have felt vindicated. Proven right. Instead, I just felt tired. I'm sorry you're going through this, I said quietly. Are you? He looked at me sharply. Or are you thinking, I told you so? I'm thinking my son is hurting. That broke him. He started crying. Real tears. Messy. Honest. I fucked up, Mom. I fucked everything up. Language. He laughed through his tears. You're worried about language? Old habits. He wiped his face. Took a shaking breath. I need help. I need. He stopped. Started again. I need money. Just temporarily. Just until I get back on my feet. I know I don't deserve it after how I treated you, but. No. The word hung between us. What? No. I'm not giving you money. His face went pale. Then red. You're my mother. Exactly. I'm your mother. Not your bank. I'm about to lose my apartment. I have nowhere to go. Clara took everything. You have a sister. Have you called her? He looked away. Emily and I aren't speaking. Why not? Because she told me I was an asshole. After you moved. After I complained about you choosing her over me. His voice was bitter. Self-pitying. She was right. He stared at me, shocked. You were an asshole, I said calmly. You tried to control me. You wanted to sell my house. You wanted power of attorney over my finances. You saw me as a problem to manage, not a person to love. I was trying to help. You were trying to control. There's a difference. So you're going to let me end up homeless? Your own son? I felt something shift inside me. Something final. David, I love you. You're my child. But you're also 42 years old. You made choices. Bad choices. Choices based on greed and image and control. And now you're facing the consequences. So that's it? You're just going to abandon me? I'm not abandoning you. I'm refusing to enable you. What's the difference? I leaned forward, looked him in the eye. When you wanted to put me in Meadowbrook, you said it was for my own good. That I needed to face reality. That I was being irresponsible. That was different, was it? Or are you just angry that I'm applying the same logic to you? He stood up, furious, hurt. Fine, I get it. You've chosen Emily. You've chosen your new life. You don't need me anymore. I've always needed you, David. I just needed you to see me as a person, not a resource. And I needed you to help me when I'm drowning. Then learn to swim. His face went cold, closed off. You know what? Forget it. Forget I asked. I'll figure it out myself. He walked to the door. Stopped. For what it's worth, I'm glad you're happy here. I really am, even if it means I lost you. You didn't lose me. You pushed me away. There's a difference. He left without another word. The door closed quietly. I sat in the silence for a long time. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. But I didn't cry. I'd made the right choice. The hard choice. The necessary choice. David needed to grow up. To face consequences. To become someone who could stand on his own. I couldn't do that for him. No one could. Emily called an hour later. Mom, David just called me. He's furious. He said you refused to help him. I did. He said he's going to be homeless. He's exaggerating. He'll figure it out. Silence. Then, Mom, are you okay? Yes. Actually, yes, I am. That must have been hard. It was. But it was right. I'm proud of you. Those 4 words made me cry. Finally. Not for David. Not for the situation. For myself. For becoming someone my daughter could be proud of. For becoming someone I could be proud of. Thanksgiving came. Just me, Emily, Tom, and Sophie. Turkey. Stuffing. Cranberry sauce. Pumpkin pie. Simple. Perfect. Sophie sat next to me. Held my hand during grace. I'm thankful for Grandma, she said seriously. Because she lives close now and makes me pancakes. Everyone laughed. But I cried. Happy tears. Grateful tears. Tears for the life I'd chosen. The family I'd prioritized. The freedom I'd claimed. After dinner, Emily and I did dishes. Have you heard from David? She asked. No. He called me yesterday. Asked if he could stay with us for a while. What did you say? I said no. I said he needs to figure things out on his own. Tom agreed. I dried a plate carefully. Do you think we're being cruel? I asked. I think we're being honest. There's a difference. I smiled. You sound like your father. Good. She bumped my shoulder. He was a smart man. We finished the dishes in comfortable silence. Later, standing on my balcony with coffee, I thought about David. My son. My child. My responsibility. But also his own person. His own life. His own consequences. I'd given him life. Raised him. Loved him. But I couldn't save him from himself. No mother could. The city lights stretched below me. Infinite. Glittering. Full of stories and struggles and people figuring it out. David would figure it out too. Or he wouldn't. Either way, it wasn't my burden to carry anymore. I had my own life to live. And I was going to live it. Spring came early that year. The roses on the roof bloomed in March. Pink and fragrant and alive. I spent hours up there. Pruning, watering, talking to Joan about compost and fertilizer. And the best varieties for container growing. You really know your stuff, she said. 37 years of practice. In your old house? In my old life. She smiled. And now? This is your new life? I looked around. The roof garden. The city skyline. The sound of traffic and life below. Yes, this is my new life. David called in April. I almost didn't answer. But I did. Mom. His voice was different. Quieter. Humbler. David, I need to apologize. Silence. You were right, he continued. About everything. I was controlling. I was selfish. I saw you as an asset, not as my mother. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I'm really, genuinely sorry. Thank you. I got a job. Not as good as before, but stable. I'm renting a small place. Studio apartment. It's humbling. Growth often is. He laughed softly. Yeah, I'm learning that. Good. Can I see you? I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything. I just want to see you. If that's okay. I thought about it. Really thought. Yes, you can see me. We met for coffee the next week. A small cafe near my building. Neutral ground. David looked better. Still thin. Still tired. But present. Aware. This is nice, he said, looking around. Your neighborhood. I like it. How's Sophie? Wonderful. She's learning piano. That's great. He stirred his coffee. How's Emily? You could call her. I know. I'm working up to it. We talked for an hour. Carefully. Like strangers learning each other. But it was a start. As we were leaving, he hugged me. Quick. Awkward. Thank you, Mom. For what? For not giving up on me. Even when I deserved it. You're my son. I'll never give up on you. But you won't enable me. No, I won't enable you. He smiled. Good. That summer was perfect. Emily's family and I went to the beach for a week. Rented a house. Built sandcastles. Swam in the ocean. Sophie collected shells. Tom grilled burgers. Emily and I sat on the porch and watched the sunset. Are you happy, Mom? She asked one evening. Yes, I really am. Do you miss the house? Sometimes. But I don't regret leaving it. That's all that matters. I looked at my daughter. Strong, kind, wise. You saved me, I said quietly. What? When David was pushing me toward Meadowbrook. When I was drowning in grief and fear and confusion. You saved me. You reminded me that I had choices. That I was still me. Emily's eyes filled with tears. You saved yourself, Mom. I just showed you the door. Maybe she was right. Maybe we'd saved each other. September brought my 68th birthday. Emily insisted on a party. Just small. Family and a few friends. 15 people showed up. Joan and the book club. Tom's parents. Sophie's friends from school. David came. Brought a card and flowers. I know it's not much, he said quietly. It's perfect. We sang happy birthday. I blew out candles. Made a wish. Let this continue. This life. This happiness. This peace. Later, after everyone left, I sat on my balcony. The city sparkled below. The night was warm. Comfortable. Sophie had fallen asleep on my sofa. Emily covered her with a blanket. Should we wake her? Tom asked. Let her sleep, I said. I like having her here. Emily kissed my forehead. Happy birthday, Mom. Happy life, sweetheart. They left quietly. Sophie still sleeping. I covered her more snugly. Smoothed her hair. My granddaughter. My legacy. Not money. Not property. Not assets. This love. This connection. This life continuing beyond me. I thought about Robert. What he'd say if he could see me now. I knew exactly what he'd say. I'm proud of you, Margaret. And I was proud of me too. For choosing freedom over fear. For choosing life over stasis. For letting go of what was dead and embracing what was alive. The roses on the roof would bloom again next spring. Sophie would grow up strong and loved. Emily would continue being the daughter I'd somehow managed to raise right. And David would figure it out. Or not. But it would be his choice. His life. As for me, I'd keep living. Keep choosing. Keep growing. Because that's what strength was. Not holding on forever. But knowing when to let go. And having the courage to do it. The city hummed below me. Life. Continuing. Always continuing. And I was part of it. Not just existing. Not just surviving. Living. At 68 years old, I was finally learning what that meant. And it was beautiful. The end.